Hello, Collective. Tarot Flow here. So, I have a message for you. I was meditating earlier today in the morning, and yesterday, I don't know what it was about yesterday. Like, I was so excited for the blue moon, and then I did nothing yesterday. And so, this morning, when my son went to school, that's when I took the time to meditate. I did a simmer pot. You know, wrote down everything I wanted to do for the burn ritual and all of that. And I'm sitting in meditation and I actually got a download. I got a revelation. Now, this will probably resonate with some of you also because, I always say we're the collective and we're all connected in some way, shape, or form energetically. So, the message was like, I was questioning where I'm currently at on my journey, okay, or just in my life in general. And I'm like, I think paranoid, thinking that I'm fearful about what is about to happen. I've detached so much. I'm in a very unfamiliar space at this time. And so I'm kind of asking spirit, what is happening? Like I feel like I'm fearful, or I feel like I'm wigging out on, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? And spirit said, this is not fear. The heaviness that I'm feeling is not fear. The heaviness is freedom and expansion. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, wow. For some of us who have come into freedom for the first time, it feels so unfamiliar. Our nervous system is not used to that. Our conscious awareness is not even familiar with the concept of freedom if we've never experienced that, right? And I've done so much detaching over the last year that now I don't have these people, places, and things that are creating an obstacle for me on my path. I'm still questioning, okay, what's happening? What's going on? And the problem is the heaviness is the freedom. And I was told that as you're moving and or as you're navigating through densities, that's the heaviness that I'm feeling, or maybe what you could be feeling if you're going through the same thing. And it really makes a lot of sense because everyone always talks about 5D. Some people think that we're there, and some people think that we still have a couple more years before we transition into 5D awareness. But I feel like some of us are there, and not only that, but some of us are past five density now. Some of us are, way past 5, 6, just depending on how long you've been awakened, the healing you've been doing, the journey that you've been on. And I just find it to be very interesting that now, when, Spirit was saying to me this morning, you have all of this freedom, but the heaviness is not the fear, it's the overwhelming feeling of, well, what comes next? And now that I have the awareness of this is what freedom feels like, I think the overwhelm is trying to figure out, so now that I have freedom and now that I'm in this empty space, how do I fill that void with what I want? How do I bring my desires into my reality? Right. And and I think that now that we are finally in Gemini season, and I've been talking about the mental clarity and, the healthy forms of expression and the communication, I think that the expression and the communication is helping us learn what we want in this new space, right? Because we can't decide what we want if we're not honest with ourselves, if we're not taking accountability or even speaking it out loud, speaking it into existence, into the universe, right? And so this is just a message for you to know that, if you've been doing the work, you've been detaching, you've been doing the inner work, and it feels very reclusive or it feels very secluded, understand that your sacrifice to release people, places, and things was required for your freedom. You don't have those obstacles in the way anymore. So now you have this opportunity for expansion, right? And I've mentioned before that right before the expansion happens, the contraction takes place. It's like labor pains, like giving birth. There's always a little bit of pain right before the expansion happens, and then we can procreate, and then we can start having new creative ideas, and start being more fertile in how we want to manifest things into our life, right? And so it just makes a lot of sense, because I think that's why maybe yesterday I was just very like blah, which was really weird, because the whole week I'm like, oh my God, I'm a Sagittarius, full moon in Sagittarius. I'm so excited. And then full moon in Sag came, and I just was like, I did not want to participate. I felt very detached, and I kind of felt like a little guilty for that. However, I think that was necessary. I think that was needed, because, I am a sad sun, and I also have a sad stellium. So the last two moons affected me the most, which was the full moon in Scorpio and a full moon in Sag, because I have a stellium in Scorpio and Sag, right? And so the month of May was just a big time for me to rearrange certain things in my life to allow me to experience what true authenticity feels like, right? Just allowing myself to embody what that Scorpio/Sagittarius energy is doing for me and what it means for me in my life and my journey, right? And so now that I have the awareness that I'm finally in the space of experiencing freedom, now I can kind of figure out, well, what can I create in this new space now? You know, and moving away from the old ideas, moving away from the old manifestations. I don't feel it in me anymore for me to desire those things. And maybe that's because the people, places, and things that I have detached from, I think had an influence or affected me with a distorted mindset in some way, shape, or form. And so now that I don't have those people, places, and things influencing me about certain things in my life, I can like start over and scratch everything off the list and just say, you know what, it's okay. I'm going to give all of those things up and allow myself to start from. Okay, sorry about that. Someone was knocking on my door for my son. But in any case, if you're in the same space and if you're feeling the same way, it's okay for you to start over again. It's okay for you to initially want something and then be honest with yourself and say, you know what, that doesn't feel right anymore. And now that we're in this space of expansion, allow yourself to move towards whatever makes you feel happy, or whatever feels good within your soul, right? Because I think that when we were influenced by those people, places, and things before the detaching took place, it was hard for us to move in a way that felt natural, because we were wanting to be seen. We wanted recognition. We were, having to prove ourselves, whatever the case, whatever it was for you, and now I feel like now we are in this expansive space. There's more room to not just grow, but more for us to learn, right? And I think that's real big for me as a Sagittarius, because I'm a lifelong student. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly gaining knowledge. And I'm staring at this book right now called, on my bookshelf, it's called what is it? The something of philosophers. So this is giving Sagittarius energy now, right? And I also mentioned to you before about Jupiter moving into Leo at the end of the month on the 30th. This is going to be really big: expansion, abundance, attracting certain things into your life in a more positive manner on a massive scale, right? So, yeah, it's just something for you to think about. And if this resonated with you, let me know by commenting below, share, like, favorite, do all the things. And I hope you guys have a great day and happy June. Allow all the wonderful things to come magnetized to you in your life and allow you to start all over again. It's okay. Keep going. Bye.